Let them go! Let them go!
On Saturday afternoon, a few dozen activists rallied outside the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. to advocate for the nearly 500 Trump supporters indicted for their alleged roles on January 6th, especially those who remain in jail pending trial. In this case, many of the activists present expressed similar beliefs, as did attorney John Pierce, who represents many of the defendants. While some may find his viewpoint unacceptable, I believe it is strongly important to provide uncut footage of such newsworthy events. I should note that CNN and Fox also had cameras there, but likely wouldn't provide the same beginning-to-end raw video. While I prefer to present all of my work as raw footage that speaks for itself, I am including the following warning to satisfy YouTube's community standards to keep the full, uncut video of this event in place. I will cite the language YouTube has been putting on videos for the last couple months. As YouTube used to include in election-related videos, Joe Biden is the President of the United States. States certify results after ensuring ballots are properly counted and correcting irregularities and errors. As YouTube now includes under some videos, robust safeguards ensure the integrity of election results, and YouTube links to www.cisa.gov/rumor-control to learn more, and I will include that link in the description as well. I hope that this warning suffices for YouTube to allow the video to remain online. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to the great civil rights battle of our time. And you are all on the front lines. Now, I am not alone in wishing there were more people here. I think we've actually got a pretty good, respectable crowd, but just remember, just a couple of people in the boat with George Washington crossing that Delaware on Christmas Eve. And that's what got this all started. So, when we say we're America first at Look Ahead America, we mean it. So we kick this off the way an America First organization should, and that's with the pledge and a prayer. So whoever's going to, I know we've got somebody who's going to do the pledge. Step on up here, please. I want you to just tell us, just give us your name, where you're from, and please lead us. We have a flag right there. So let's get started.
All right, hello everybody. My name is Anders Bruce. I'm from Northern Virginia, just down the Beltway from here. And so let's say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now a prayer. So tell us your name, where you're from, and give us a good prayer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Derek. I'm from the area. I'm Catholic, so we're going to be doing a Our Father. We'll do a Hail Mary, especially for those Catholics out there. And people know St. Michael the Archangel. You guys know that last one? All right, perfect, perfect. All right, then, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. All right. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now at the hour of our death. Amen. All right, we got, now for St. Michael. Probably my favorite, to be honest. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan, and all the evil spirits that prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Thank you. Good job. Good job. Appreciate it. Okay, so I have a little story to tell you guys about the aftermath of the January 6th protest. I started to get word that people who were being charged, over prosecuted by our good friends up here and our friends down the block, that they were having trouble finding attorneys, had trouble finding representatives. Now this perplexed me because I remember, I'm old enough to remember, a little place called Guantanamo Bay, where they were keeping people who were killing our soldiers on the battlefield completely in violation of Geneva Convention, not in uniform, fighting dirty. But we saw people on the progressive left in this country, and even those on the establishment right, praising attorneys going down to Guantanamo Bay, representing those people pro bono. And yet our patriotic brothers and sisters being charged with misdemeanors of trespass and other minor charges could not get attorneys. In fact, one law professor who was trying to connect some of these families to find an attorney told me that there were attorneys out there with top firms that were willing to represent these folks, but their firms told them, you better not. This is unprecedented in the history of our country. We've always had the principle that regardless of what crime you committed or are alleged to have committed, you are entitled to a defense. But these people, they've struggled. And I had the privilege, through Look Ahead America, we've connected many people who are trying to find attorneys with attorneys who are willing to support them, but it was not easy. It's actually quite difficult. So that's why I'm kind of, I'm really honored that we have somebody here who has courage, an attorney with courage. They do exist. And he is representing no less than half a dozen of our patriotic brethren who are being persecuted. So I would like you to make some noise for John Pierce. John Pierce, come up here and tell us what's going on.
Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you. Okay, great. No, I'm not that tall, but thank you, Matt. Thank you, Look Ahead America. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. At this point, I'm up to, I think, 12 defendants. It's growing by the day. These folks need help. I either have courage, or I'm fearless, or I'm very reckless. But these folks need representation. And I can't get into the specifics of these cases because I'm a lawyer on these cases. But let me say very clearly that we are going to take every one of these cases to trial. We are going to seek full acquittals. And in that process, we are going to find out exactly what actually happened on January 6th. And let me say generally, not about the defendants I represent or the Capitol, because I have to be careful about that. But let me say generally about January 6th. What happened on January 6th is a whole lot of Americans showed up in Washington, D.C. to petition their government for redress of grievances under the First Amendment because they know that the election in November was stolen from them. They were cheated out of that election. Nobody was doing anything about it, including state legislatures. And they showed up to have their voices be heard. And now there are 40 or 50 individuals who are in solitary confinement in conditions that I promise you are not pleasant. And I want to talk about a few of them very quickly so you understand what's going on. One of my clients is named Christopher Worrell. He's from Florida. He has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's getting worse by the day. He has not been permitted to see his oncologist. He has not been permitted to receive any of the cancer treatments that have been prescribed for him by his own oncologist. He has contracted COVID, and he is in serious danger. I have another client that you may have heard of. His name is Ryan Samsel. Ryan was severely and viciously beaten by a federal corrections officer while in pretrial detention, presumed innocent. He is blind in one eye. He's lost the use of an arm. He is in a county jail in Rappahannock. He is not receiving the MRIs he needs, the surgeries he needs to minimize the degree to which he will be crippled for life. I have another client named James Mcgrew, who was in pretrial detention, presumed innocent, who attempted suicide before he was arrested because of the stress and anxiety of worrying about being arrested. He now has 95% kidney failure. He desperately needs dialysis, and guess what? He's not getting it. The final person I want to talk about is the ultimate example of political persecution. And I have my little wristband on here, Justice for Ashley Babbitt. And I can talk about that one. I can talk about that one a lot.
Who killed Ashley Babbitt?
There was one person that was killed at the Capitol that day. Nobody wants to say her name. They tried to cancel her post-mortem because she does not fit in with the narrative that there was an armed insurrection. She was unarmed. She was no immediate threat of serious bodily harm or death to anyone. The shooter, who it appears was part of Nancy Pelosi's personal security guard, was barricaded and behind cover. She was surrounded by Capitol police officers. And if you watch the video, it's very interesting. After he takes aim at her for about 30 seconds, they calmly walk away. Okay? If you want to talk about due process and deprivation of life without due process, look no further than Ashley Babbitt. That family deserves justice. The individual who shot her needs to be named.
Lock him up!
And we cannot stop until that situation is rectified, because if we have a 14-year Air Force veteran who served in Iraq and Afghanistan show up in the United States Capitol unarmed and get killed by being shot in the neck, we do not live in a free country. So finally, let me just touch on one or two other things. Our Constitution is being shredded on a daily basis. It's being eviscerated day by day at an accelerating pace. The First Amendment is going away because of big tech censorship and cancel culture. Our sacred, sacred Second Amendment is under attack from all fronts at every level of government. Our Fourth Amendment, you can just talk to my client Carter Page about that, and the FISA warrants that our friends down the street fraudulently got against him with an FBI lawyer forging a document. And guess what punishment he got? He got probation. He forged a CIA document to submit to a super secret FISA court, and he got probation. That is the system we're living in right now. So now is the time to stand up. As Matt said, this is an existential crisis in America. This is a fourth turning. This is similar to the American Revolution, the Civil War, and World War II. Everyone has to stand up and be counted. All of you are standing up and being counted, but you need to tell your friends and your family and everyone you know to get out on these streets and to stand up and be counted. Thank you very much. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Look Ahead America. It's an honor, and I hope to talk to everybody after the event here. Thank you. Thank you.
I need to add another note, though, just so you can appreciate how brave this man is. So Look Ahead America, we have a research group that does a lot of voter fraud investigation, does a lot of other things, but we also have, and you're all welcome to join it. Just sign up to volunteer at our website. But one of the things we did was we tracked down every attorney of record for everybody that's being prosecuted as a result of January 6th. We asked all of them, hey, would you like to come talk? Would you like to dial in? Would you like to send a letter? All of them declined. Now, maybe they're thinking if they show up here and speak truth in front of these guys, that they're not going to give their clients a good deal. And I'm not unsympathetic to that. But it's patriots like this that are standing up, that are icebreakers for the rest of those people that are being prosecuted. By him coming here and speaking at their front door, he's carrying a load for every single person, even those he's not defending. So please make a big round of applause for him. Now, it's with great honor but also sadness that I have to introduce our next guest. His son is currently incarcerated, has not been offered bail. It's being held in truly catastrophic conditions. I mean, seriously, like Guantanamo Bay, again, people kill our soldiers. They have fresh air. They have medical treatment. They have the best doctors in the world. They have dentists. They have meals. They have the meals appropriate for their religion. That's how far they go. They have board games. Our guys are sitting in hard lockdown and solitary confinement for, at best, trespass, but in reality, they are innocent. Most of them are innocent. Hardly any of them committed anything even remotely violent. So it's, please lend your ears to Mr. Ned Lang, who is here to represent his son, Jake, who's currently incarcerated.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and I want to thank everybody for showing up, for standing here in the face of the DOJ and the FBI and all the atrocities that are happening now to our sons, daughters, friends, fathers, mothers in federal prison. My son, Jake Lang, just turned 26 in prison in April. He was there on January 6th. I was there in November. I had the best time of my life. I chartered a bus and brought 40-some people down there. It was a beautiful, beautiful time, listening to the speakers, listening to the power, the bringing America back, doing the right thing for America. Myself and my family come from a long line of veterans for our country. My father served as a Marine in Korea. My older brother served as a Marine in Vietnam. My other brother served as a Coast Guard aviator, and I was in the Coast Guard as a bosun mate. And my daughter also served. We believe in a country that is upstanding, that stands for democracy, that is about what our Constitution gives us, the rights and freedoms and the privileges that we share and have as a nation, as a people. You know, to be a parent, to be a father, to be just to be a serviceman, a veteran of this country used to be a great thing. It's still a great thing to be a father and a parent. But what's happening now in our prison is unbelievable. And so you have to ask yourself, how in God's name did we get here? How in God's name do we have such strange bedfellows that Putin is actually calling out Mr. Biden? The United States has no more moral ground calling out other countries for inhumane treatment of their prisoners. We have no cause. We have no standing anymore with the international community and harming political prisoners, political persecution for Americans. How is that possible? We let our borders open, whatever Tom, Dick, and Harry can come across and help them out. Open up the sign. But our people, because they're on the wrong side of the political spectrum, are now being harmed in prison. My son, I talk to him almost every day, or I used to. Julie Kelly, what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. Wonderful person, Judy and Liz. I was on their podcast. I explained for 45 minutes my take on this, my experience with what's going on as a parent and as an American. And Julie Kelly was on Fox News last Friday. My son was not allowed to call that last weekend and got a message out to his mom that they're going to be on lockdown now in their cells, 7 days. No visit, no, of course, no visitation, not out of their cells, no showers, no nothing, no communication with the outside world. Can you imagine that, 7 days? I want whoever is in charge of the Washington DOC, they should be A, arrested, and B, lock them in their cells for 7 days and see how that works out for them, am I right? So this is what needs to happen. Biden speaks about the worst thing in his inauguration speech, which wasn't his to make. We all know that. But Biden spoke about homegrown terrorists. That's our biggest threat. Can you imagine that? You've got Iran developing nuclear weapons. You've got Russia on one side, China on the other, all coming after us. And this moron is telling us that our biggest threat is homegrown terrorists. Well, how do you make homegrown terrorists? The FBI. Well, what happens is there's two things that you have to have in this country in order for people to be able to live in unison. You have to have trust. Trust that the laws are fair and equitable and justified. You have to trust that there's equal distribution of the law and justice in this country, or we don't have a law. We don't have a justice system. We have a weaponized justice system right now with the FBI and the DOJ. That's what we have. We do not have trust in our legal system, in our justice system anymore. And hopefully we still have trust in our legal system, but we're going to find out, as that attorney just spoke about. He's great conversation. So do you have trust? You lose the trust. And then you have hope that it's going to turn around, that things are going to be better. We're going to not have people locked in their cages for months and months or years before they even have due process and allowed to have a trial. Can you imagine that? Not even offered bail 6 months down the line. So how do you make a terrorist? How do you radicalize someone? I'll tell you how you do it. You take away trust and you take away hope. And the only hope that they have left is to take the matters into their own hands and seek their own justice. And that, pray God, is not what happened, but that's what they're pressuring these people to do. They're taking everything away from these folks in jail. I mean, there's fathers, they have kids, they have businesses, they have houses, they have wives. They're losing everything for misdemeanors. For misdemeanors. Meanwhile, the folks that are rioting, burning down federal buildings, hurting police, you name it, doing whatever they want to do. You have Kamala Harris out there asking for them to be let go. Most of the charges out in Portland and Seattle, most of the people have walked away from those federal charges. And who's advocating for them? Kamala Harris and the other sort of her lot. That's not fair and equitable justice. That is not what America's about. That's not what we fought for wars for. That is not what veterans have given their time and their effort to this country for. So get involved with your politicians, I beg you. Get involved, get out there, speak, talk, get involved, talk to your neighbors. So many people come up to me, how's your son? How's your son? I said it's going to be a long journey, but at the end I believe it's going to be a good journey in that my son will be better off for it. He just has to survive this inhumane, horrible treatment at the hands of the DOJ, the FBI, and Comrade Biden. Thank you.
Good job, man. Thank you. So, hello, sir. Is that you? Oh, okay, I'm going to put you in the. I'm going to mic you up. Just 1 second. Okay, so I'm about to introduce probably one of the greatest patriots down at the Capitol that we have ever had. One of the greatest patriots we've ever had, who has had, I think, more courage than perhaps the entire caucus of the party to which he belongs. And we are honored to have him address us today over the phone live from Arizona. So I give you the Honorable Congressman Paul Gosar.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Matt. Hey, good afternoon, Patriots. This is Congressman Paul Gosar. Although I'm back in my home state of Arizona this weekend, I'm with you all in spirit today. In fact, last week I wrote a letter to Attorney General Garland demanding answers to very troubling reports that the Biden administration and the Justice Department are mistreating nonviolent prisoners arrested in connection with January 6th. Nearly 6 months have passed, yet many of these individuals remain separated from their families. The leftists don't want us to talk about what really happened on January 6th, and more importantly, why it happened. Tens of millions of Americans believe their voice is not getting heard. Tens of millions of people have lost confidence in their government, their election, their school districts, their news sources, and even their public health officials. So the people have questions. People want answers. And they're not getting answers, and they're often not getting the truth when they get an answer. So it makes people upset. They want the truth, and they're entitled to the truth. I've helped lead an effort to get a simple audit in Arizona on its election. The leftists have been triggered to insane levels of dishonesty and have worked themselves into a froth just to stop this audit. An audit that has only one purpose, to see if the election results are accurate. Now, 100% of real Americans should support that goal. Only people with something to hide would oppose the truth-finding mission. Only people with something to hide would act as shamefully as the media and the left has. That brings me to Ashley Babbitt. Do not fall for the false choice being presented that you must support the officer who killed Ms. Babbitt or else you're anti-police. We know who the real anti-police and defund the police crowd is, and it isn't us. They don't want us to know the truth about Ashley's death, but we do. Release the video. Release the investigative report. Give Ashley the dignity she deserves. Give Congress some self-respect and stop covering up this murder. Give America back its dignity. Give the American people the truth. And at long last, give America the truth. Stay the course, folks. Stay the course. I so appreciate you getting together today and keeping us on the front burner. God love you. Godspeed. God bless the United States.
Make them hear it.
That's first.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, everybody. Keep the faith.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to add, though, as Mr. Lang stepped off the stage, I want to point out something is that he's not a politician. He's not politically adjacent like myself, like some of our other speakers. He's not an attorney. He is a true American speaking from the heart about the great injustice that has been done against his family. So I want another round of applause for him, please. And keep his family in your prayers. So we like fighters, and I'm about to introduce one heck of a fighter, and I mean it literally, like in a boxing ring fighter. She's been an entrepreneur, a leader, has the courage to go on to reality television, which I'm sure is not easy, especially the way they edit that together just to make you look awful. But she's also stood up for people who suffer from different afflictions as well. I know for people who are obese, she stood up to help defend them and to set them on the right path. And she's now stepping forward for our imprisoned brothers, our persecuted brothers and sisters. She started an organization called Citizens Against Political Prisoners. Now, the ecosystem of those patriots, of us patriots, we're not really well connected. We don't actually have a very big history of protest culture here. That's why there's, this crowd is what it is, because we're just getting started. We're learning about this, because now we're in a position we really don't have a choice but to engage in it. So we don't have these networks, and I started this by sending a letter in January on behalf of Look Ahead America to these guys, the FBI and the DOJ, saying, hey, drop all charges against these nonviolent protesters. That's this history. They're not guilty anyway, because what you're accusing them of requires them to have known in advance that it was wrong to walk into a public building through an open door and take a picture and walk out. But other people, other patriots step forward, and Ms. Cara Castronuova has stepped forward and founded an organization with a parallel effort to ours, and we're joining forces today. I'm very honored to have her come up. Please come up and join us, Ms. Cara. Ms. Cara Castronuova. The floor is yours. Thank you.
That was so nice of you. Hey, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. And thank you, Matt, for organizing this protest. We wanted to organize one in New York a month ago, and it's a scary thing to organize because it's so taboo right now. So Matt organized actually the first of this kind, and I'd really like to thank him for cracking into to starting this, because I think it's only going to grow from here. People are only going to start opening their eyes after a protest like today. We're doing one in New York City next week. Matt is supposed to be there on Sunday the 27th, and hopefully from here, thank you, hopefully from here more people will start organizing organic protests like this. I know that happened with the COVID, the shutdown last year. We were some of the first to organize these little protests, then people catch on. So everybody's ready for this message, and people are tired of it. So like Matt said, my name is Cara Castronuova. I founded Citizens Against Political Persecution. We did a little research on the internet and saw that Matt was pretty much the only person, literally in America, speaking out about this. Where are the politicians? It's sickening. I reached out to so many politicians in New York and in general to see if they would speak, and they're all like, oh, I'm concerned about my upcoming election. Oh, we want to distance ourselves from January 6th. It's disgusting that these politicians are doing this on all sides of the spectrum, that they don't care about the people that they represent. Another thing that really pushed me to do this was I'm a peaceful protest organizer. I was there on January 6th peacefully protesting. I was nowhere near the building, and I was peacefully protesting. I felt the energy. Nobody could really say that they knew what it was like, right? People that watch the fake news, people that watch the video footage and listen to these bootleg reporters have no idea what it felt like to be there that day. And that's what bothered me the most. What happened to the guys in prison right now and that are sitting there, and some females too that were locked up, could have happened to any given person that day. Any given person that day. I was lucky enough that day to be very close when Donald Trump was speaking. So by the time I walked to the Capitol, everything had already hit the fan, right? But I spoke to plenty of elderly people, plenty of very normal people who said, oh, I was in the building, I just walked in. And I've spoken to many people since, just doing a social experiment, saying, if you were standing there by the open doors, would you have walked in? They're like, yeah, I would have. It's an open public building. And that happened to a lot of people, and this could have happened to anybody here. Any of the hundreds of thousands of people that were there that day. Millions. Right? There were so many people there that day. It was just the people that were in the front that were unlucky enough to walk in. And I know plenty of them that have gotten visits from the FBI, that have been persecuted by the FBI, that are being harassed by law enforcement. It's disgusting. And I would like to plead with the FBI today to stop harassing. I know there's some of you here today. There has to be. Stop harassing American citizens like me coming to our damn house and harassing us. You're disgusting. You took an oath to the American Constitution. You know damn well this is wrong. I know a lot of you are supposedly Trump supporters. You know this is wrong, and the fact that you're following along with this agenda from the Biden Justice Department, you should put your foot down and go behind closed doors and say that this is wrong. So FBI and Justice Department, I'm pleading with you today to stick up for the people that you swore to protect. It's so disturbing. So. And also, tell your friends, a lot of people don't know what's going on right now. A lot of people, tell your friends and family, where is everybody? You know, I give so much credit to Matt for putting this together, but you know, people need to come out and support this. People need to come out, because if this could happen to them, it could happen to any one of us. You know, there's the anti-vax groups, like they're next. You know what I mean? The people that disagree with the government, if they get away with shutting and locking up and shutting the voices up of this group of patriots, who's next? And the left should be very afraid too, because they could be next. The pendulum swings back and forth on the political spectrum, and it's only a matter of time before they use this precedent to shut people on the left the hell up. So they should be fighting against this too, and they should be very worried. Today, I was asked by some of the family members, by Matt and Kim, to read, Kimmy, and thank you, Kimmy, for all your hard work with this, some of the letters from some of the family members that are in prison. And you can only imagine how these people must feel. I have spoken to some of the wives, some of the family members. They don't go, there's days on end that they go without hearing from their family members. They're on 23-hour lockdown. There was a story where, and this is a true story because we heard this firsthand from one of the political prisoners, on Memorial Day. This is a crazy story. They literally locked, they're all locked up in a pod, as you know, in D.C. jail. There's about 50 of them. 4 of them decided to all together sing the national anthem on Memorial Day, and to put a picture, one drew an American flag and put it outside his cell. They got shut up on lockdown for a week after that, just for singing the national anthem. These are all vets on Memorial Day. It's so disturbing, it's so disgusting. So this is a letter I'm going to read to you that one of the family members sent, and this is it. Guy, as Father's Day approaches, I'm reminded of all the beautiful, loving, crazy adventures we have had as parents, partners, and patriots. We miss you so. How I wish you were receiving your mail. The girls and I have sent pictures, cards, hoping you would have the same connection to home and the people that love and support you. You are fighting the good fight, and we stand firmly with you. Stay strong, baby. The girls and I will do the same. Love and miss you so. Sarah, Peyton, and your Abigail Adams. So that's one of the letters. What's so interesting about all of this is that these guys are given a tablet a few days to email and to text. And I try to think about things in my head, like they're not giving them scissors to cut the hair. They can't shave. They're not getting toenail clippers. They're not getting adequate nutrition. They're not getting their cancer treatments in the case of Chris Worrell. They don't have access to their lawyers and the evidence against them, yet they're giving them tablets and cell phones to text with. The only thing in my mind is that they're trying to entrap them. They're taking their text messages, they're going to misconstrue them in court, they're trying to find out who they're talking to. So the U.S. government is trying to entrap these guys. They're giving them a tablet every day to text message with. Okay, it's so disturbing. So they're able to receive emails. My organization has sent letters of encouragement with biblical quotes, stuff they could look at in their cells. They're yet to receive them. Chris Worrell, the gentleman with cancer that was spoken of by the attorney, we sent letters over a month ago, the same letter over and over again. You all know that if you send something with a tracking and you put $13 and you have the tracking number, you know, that should be trackable. 2 letters we sent. You call the post office and they told us that the link is broken and they can't trace the letter. It makes absolutely no sense. No sense. So the letters are still, we called the jail in the mailroom, they said they haven't received the letters. It's completely BS. So I'm going to read another letter. This is for another one of the wives of the prisoners. My dearest Jose, I know our anniversary was yesterday and I miss spending this special day with you. I'm looking forward to the times ahead when we can once again spend them together. Myself and the boys want to wish you a happy Father's Day. There are so many things that they miss and know you miss too. They miss the laughter our home was filled with, the games you played together with them, all the outings you took them on like gold panning, hiking, and even the game adventures you seized. Also, they miss you being there for graduation, track meets, and open house at school. You are so much a part of completing our family, and we miss you and love you so much. We can't wait for you to come home. Your loving family, Rebecca and boys. It's crazy. And this is another one. This is actually from one of the prisoners. He was denied permission to attend his father's funeral. Now, this is someone that wasn't convicted of a crime, not convicted of a crime yet, which is completely un-American and unconstitutional, and he was denied permission to attend his father's funeral. So this is his statement from prison. We are charged with every possible offense and held in the D.C. jail on solitary confinement and treated inhumanely. For example, a correction officer came from a different pod, came to C2B, screaming at us late at night on 6/121 because we had just saying, God bless America, from behind our locked doors like we do every night. Being as we are on lockdown 22 hours a day, it's nice to keep morale up through patriotism. When my next door neighbor informed the officer that we were just singing God Bless America, the officer responded by yelling, F America. I'm sorry, I have to keep this, I didn't mean to curse, Matt, my bad. F America. Right. After the officer left the pod for several minutes, he came back in through the back door with another guard, walked upstairs, and opened the door to go inside with another prisoner. I believe 2 other guards came up the stairs to stand near his door as well, although I could not see them. I live right next door, so I listened through the vent to the officer threaten him, shut the F off or I will beat your ass and F you. He sounded like he was explaining himself and pointed out how obviously inappropriate the officer's behavior was, and acknowledging that the officer's camera was clearly turned off. I am concerned for the safety of myself and my fellow Capitol people here in the D.C. jail. We are locked down all day and threatened with violence regularly. We all know that getting our hands tied together and being beaten is something the D.C. jail officers have already done to Capitol people in this pod. Solitary confinement and beatings. That is our reality. When will the inhumane treatment end? I just want to let everyone know the reality of how we are treated in this place. Left-wing rioters are not even held in this jail, much less subjected to the harsh and inhumane treatment that my fellow Capitol patriots and I have survived under so far this year. So that's a statement. And, you know, it gets me nervous reading that statement because, as you all know, I don't know if you're familiar, but, you know, when Mark Levin, I always pronounce this guy's name wrong, I actually get smacked. Mark Levin, right? It's bad. He's great. He did a newscast on what was going on, and they penalized all these guys. They penalized them for speaking out. As you all know, the shaman, the kid with the horns, he actually had the least violent criminal charges against him. But because he was the quote-unquote face of the fake insurrection, they're using him as a pawn. There was an actual prosecutor on TV on a news segment that said, we need to use this guy as an example. We have to make sure he pays for things, that he's prosecuted because he's the face of this. So although he really just walked into there, you know, his biggest crime was like that silly outfit he was wearing. Really, he's like just like a goofy kid, in my opinion. He's still locked up. He had to take in it. They were testing him mentally to see if he's even sane anymore, because he's locked up in this prison cell under, you know, solitary confinement. Anybody would go crazy. Anybody. So it's really bad. And he went on the news and he spoke out, and they penalized him for that. Now the judge was like, now you're not getting out. You want to go on the news, now you're not getting out. So they're penalizing them for speaking out. We all have to speak up for them. Please tell your family and friends about this. Let them know about Matt's organization, Look Ahead America. My organization is Citizens Against Political Persecution. The website is www.citizensapp.app.us. You can follow us on Twitter and all the necessary horribly evil social media platforms, and just spread the word. We have a rally next week on June 27th. Matt is supposed to be there, as well as John Pierce in Foley Square in front of the Justice Department. Are you from New York? Thank you guys for coming down. Yeah. Thank you. See, I don't want to call out the elephant in the room, but look at everybody that was here, like for all the rallies last year. Where the hell are they right now? Where, you know, we all drove down here and we were happy to, but now, you know, everybody's afraid and we cannot live in fear. Like, look. Exactly. Exactly. I don't know. It's messed up. Everybody needs to reach out to their congressperson. I believe, Matt, on your website, you have something about that? How you could reach out to your local congresspeople and also your national congressperson. Tell them we don't support this and they need to stand up for the people that are being politically persecuted. Okay? And thank you everybody so much for coming out. Free political prisoners, stop political persecution, and let them go. Let them go. Let our people go. And I'm going to, yes, let them go. 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 What I'm going to actually end on was a thought that I had. I don't know if it was somebody, Jake Stout, or somebody that said something about, or maybe somebody said, let our people. And I'm like, wow, that's a really interesting concept. Right, because when people, we're not motivated because that's not the people we are. We're not marching because it's not motivated because they're the same race as us or in the same socioeconomic status. It's because they hold the same values that we do. That's why they're our people. They're Americans with the same patriotic values we have, the same love of God, of country, and that's why they're our people. And that's what makes them our people. So we're going to get our people out of there. Keep fighting. Don't give up. Follow me on social media, Cara Castronuova. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, John. Thank you to Jake Stad for coming out and being so brave. God bless America, everybody.
Thanks for that wonderful passion. And I do look forward to joining you, and I hope as many of you can join us next, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow in New York at Foley Square. I think it's at noon, right? Noon to 2? Noon to 2. I will be there, and I hope to see some familiar faces there as well as some new faces. I want to take a moment, though, to offer thanks to somebody who's really done a great job helping organize this. You probably haven't seen her or heard much from her before, but she's done so much work to make this happen. Miss Kimmy, I don't know. Can we have a round of applause for Miss Kimmy? She has been on top of this from the moment I said, hey, somebody's got to do this. No one else is. LAA, this is our obligation, and she has not hesitated. Anything I've asked her to do, she's done. We have a wonderful program here. We have a bunch of security guards that you can't see. We've got an insurance plan. We've got everything. We got everything taken care of with the police, and she gets all the credit for that. So I really appreciate it. So we've heard things. We've heard things in recent days, and every day we seem to hear something more. We've heard recently that FBI agents or assets or operatives were among the crowd on January 6th. In fact, potentially even encouraging people to participate. In fact, it doesn't seem like these guys can get an indictment without committing entrapment these days. We've heard other things too. We've heard that people were let into the building. The doors are open. The police officers, just come on in, didn't try to stop anyone from coming in. And I want to remind you is that there's something called mens rea for most of these charges. That means that you had to know that what you were doing is wrong. And if you don't know it, like walking through a public building that many other days is open to the public too, to petition your government, which is right in our First Amendment, you might have been naive, but you're not a criminal. We've also heard that there's concerns inside this building that we've been hearing since February, that they believe that they've overcharged. They believe that they have put charges against people they can't actually get convictions on, which might explain why some people are being held without charges, or why they're slow walking these cases, or why they're holding our brothers and sisters in the prison, cutting them off from their families and not giving them bail. And they're afraid because they know if they walk into court with some of the cases they've got, it's not going to be pretty. And that's going to reflect badly on them. And people like Ned and his family are paying the price for that. And these people are being ordered to overcharge. These career attorneys here are being given these orders. So we've heard this. We've heard many things. But let's talk about what we know. What we know is that in 2017, when there was another change in government, there were violent rioters in the streets of this city that burned police cars, destroyed businesses, assaulted police officers. Over 200 people charged with violence, not trespassing, not parading. Who knew that was a crime, right? Parading. They're charging our people with parading. Real violence. Over 200 of them had all charges dropped. Then fast forward to this summer, which was a lovely one here in D.C., a wonderful summer here in D.C. where every business in downtown was boarded up and there were fires every night and the city was out of control and the White House itself was directly threatened. Yeah, mostly peaceful. The city burned mostly peacefully. No real reaction from the Department of Justice. And we see now, every night in Portland, federal buildings attacked by Antifa and their allies. Silence from here, silence from over there. So that's what we know. We also know is that during the Kavanaugh hearings and other hearings involved with the change of power in our government, the Supreme Court, the Senate was broken into. Senate offices were broken into. People illegally trespassed. They marched into that building to try to interfere with the process of government of approving a Supreme Court justice. Now, and AOC, you're correct. Trespassed into Nancy Pelosi's office with a bunch of peaceful protesters. At best, these people were taken off-site, processed, slapped with like a $35 fine. We know this. We also know that Senator Johnson has seen footage that we can't see, but he's seen it, that shows these people being led into the Capitol, led into a public building. Imagine the crime. Led into a public building to exercise their First Amendments. We also know that there's about 14,000 hours of footage that these guys don't want you to see. Now, they are selectively letting out clips here and leaking out to their buddies in the media to try to portray us as, a bunch of crazies and insurrectionists. But they won't release it all. That's something we know. What we also know is that our brothers and sisters are being held in a D.C. prison in abusive conditions on lockdown for crimes that it would be laughable to not be immediately offered like an affordable bail. But in many cases, the Department of Justice is walking in for multi-million-dollar bails for trespassing and parading and interfering with the process of government. I'm going to let this bus go through. We actually got permission to shut the street down, but there was a caveat that they still get to let buses go by, so. It's fine, it's fine. We'll just wear it, we'll wear it. I mean, honestly, you know what our guys are putting up with in that prison. The least we can do is let a bus, it's fine. But what we also know is that the conditions in the prison are so bad that, and this is funny, this is not the name you would expect to hear, but Nancy Pelosi and Senator Dick Durbin have raised concerns about our people, not necessarily her people, they're Americans, I guess, but not necessarily their people being held in solitary confinement. Those are the first people to raise their voices about this issue. But they've raised their voices, and even Liz Warren. It's Liz Warren is the one that's raised the issue of, should these people really be charged at all? Now, I do know that some of the patriotic folks at the Hill got around to writing a letter, and Congressman Gosar has been leading on this from the very beginning. So But some of the others up there, they got around to writing a letter this month. Oh, imagine that they wrote a letter. They wrote a letter. We wrote a letter in January demanding these charges be dropped. And it was radio silence down there. And it was radio silence. So what are we doing here today with our First Amendment? We're petitioning the government. We're demanding that these people drop all charges against all nonviolent protesters from January 6th. That's our demand. And down and around the corner, we have a demand for those people in that pretty white dome. We demand a real commission to study what happened on January 6th. A real commission to investigate what were the FBI people doing at the protest. We want them to investigate. Why is the Department of Justice overcharging these individuals in ways they've never done before? The Attorney General says, oh, there's one standard for protesters. Oh, no, there's not. Oh, no, there's not. He's lying to our faces. And we know he can hear us right now. They're listening to every word of us in this building. And we also need an investigation into the treatment of our brothers and sisters in that prison. You hear about somebody in, a book getting flushed in the toilet in Guantanamo Bay. It's a national issue. But we've got people being denied medical care. Where's that on the nightly news? Who's standing up for these people? And we need to push back against this fake idea of there ever being an insurrection. What kind of insurrection goes and takes selfies? Right across the Potomac, we're swimming in AR-15s. Not a single person charged with entering the Capitol even had a single firearm. Where's your insurrection? Where's this fake narrative? Where's it coming from? That's what we need. That's the real January 6th commission that we need. And we need our people on that hill to get the message that we expect them to stand up, and we're not going to tolerate their ignorance of this while they send us fundraising emails telling us about tax cuts. Oh, socialism bad. Oh, yeah, great, great. Well, what about our people in that prison? Why aren't you there? Look, AOC, she's on the other side. She's on the other side, but I respect her in this. She went down to the prison to where they were holding the illegals coming across the border. She shed tears in front of the fence. Where are people at that prison? Where are they? So actually, you know what? This is not the end. This rally, this is the beginning. And we're putting them on notice, and those guys on notice. Because I said I was going to make some news today, and I am. In the great tradition of Mahatma Gandhi, or our own nation's Rosa Parks, and the great civil rights movement of this country that, unfortunately, for better or worse, seems to have been lost in its connection where it really belongs among those of us who share the America First vision, is that on July 17th we're holding another rally here in D.C. But we're not coming here. We're going to that prison. And we're going to bring more people. And we're going to raise our voices in song and patriotic song so the people in there know that we're on the outside, that we're out there fighting for them. Are you going to be there with me? That's a start. This is a start. It's a long journey, folks. I work in I've done a lot of stuff on voter integrity, and people are always asking me, okay, what are we going to do next? What's the next big win for us? But it's a long journey, folks. This is a long battle, and the forces we've been fighting, they've been patient. This didn't just happen in 2020, 2021. This has been a 100-year project for them. So we're going to need patience, we're going to need fortitude, and we're going to need strength. And it starts with you right here. You never may have thought of yourself as somebody who is going to, thought of yourself as somebody on level with like our founding fathers, or the great people who helped tame this continent, found this country. But the truth is, you're not really any different than them. Same blood courses through your veins as theirs. The same DNA. And before what happened to them, they were no different really from you. They just stepped forward. They saw a problem. They decided to fix it. They crossed the Delaware on Christmas Eve, freezing against the greatest army in the world. And they won. Our grandfathers landed on Omaha Beach. And you know, we're focusing on wars, but just, you know, taming the wilderness of this continent from one ocean to the other so that we, their descendants, could live in freedom. That was a great sacrifice by them. Many of them, we're here because they did not choose the easy path, they chose the hard path. So I have to ask us, do we think we're entitled not to have to take that hard path too, to secure what we've received for following generations after us? We're not exempt from the sacrifices that everybody that has built this country has made. We are not exempt. I do not offer you exemption. I do not excuse myself from it. I don't excuse any of you. And I certainly don't excuse any of the people who are not here right today because, I don't know, there was a football game or something. I don't know, sports. But you are not exempt from making those sacrifices. So I tell you, join me July 19th on 19th Street. More information to come at the prison. Now, if they let all these people go by then, well, I guess maybe we can watch a football game, right? But if they're still being held, we will be there. We will be there for them. July 17th. July 17th. More information to come. We'll be announcing it. So look, I can't overstate how appreciative I'm to all of you today. You took a great risk because, you know, I got a lot of messages from people who were afraid what would happen. They thought that maybe I was a CIA, FBI agent going to entrap you all, or that you're going to all get rounded up and put in prison and hunted down, and I don't know, maybe that still will happen. But you guys have courage. And I said, you know, I was told over and over again, hey, aren't you afraid of what might happen? Afraid Antifa, BLM will show up and cause you problems? And my answer has always been the same. This nation will not be saved by cowards. So I thank you for coming out today. I encourage you to go home safely, get active, sign up at Look Ahead America, sign up to volunteer. We need your time, your talent, or your treasure. One of those you got to be able to give us. So on that, America first, America forever. Thank you and God bless. USA, 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 USA. USA! 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 USA!
Before you all go, I want to thank you, Matt, for doing this. I want to challenge you to please come on the 19th, even if they have not freed these individuals, because they are going to be putting other individuals. My name is Suzanne Mike. I'm a D.C. resident. I've been following what the mayor has been doing. Mayor Garland put our friends in that jail, but it is Mayor Muriel Bowser who has hired the torturers that are torturing not just our patriots, but every single human being in that jail. This has been going on throughout COVID. So I'm going to ask you guys to follow up and continue to stick with this, because we need to put the pressure both on Mayor Garland and on Muriel Bowser, who is the person who has hired these torturers. Thank you, guys.
The mic's off. The mic's off.
I got a little.
The mic's off. Tell him his mic is off.
Okay, I got a little ahead of myself. I forgot there was one thing we were going to do to close this thing out. You read in that letter that these guys were being basically had that, you know what, beaten out of them for singing "God Bless America."
Here we go.
We're going to sing it right here, and we actually, the gentleman, the letter pledged. Just to know a little about our organization, he's the leader of our organization in the state of Virginia. He's our state volunteer coordinator for Virginia. We're very honored to have somebody of his caliber leading our volunteers in that very important state. So he's going to get up here and lead us in singing God Bless America. We all know the lyrics to this, right? Or you're going to learn them today. All right, thank you. Please come up here, my friend.
Okay, yeah, we'll go through it like a couple times. So please sing along.
Yes.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my as the storm clouds gather far across the sea. Let us swear allegiance to a land that's free.
Let us all be grateful. And that's where
For a land so fair. God bless America. And I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
All right, protocol for leaving, do not go alone. Be in a group until you get outside of DC with your own foot, and that also applies for you going home on the metro. So again, thank you folks, get home safe. God bless you all.